I was sent a Facebook post from a public Facebook group for parents who recently had children go away to college. So these are young adults, probably around 18 years old. I'm going to read it to you. What do you do when your college-age child sends an email saying they no longer want a relationship with you, ask for no contact, no communication? Many will be quick to suggest counseling, point to possible underlying issues, or assume that boundaries have been crossed. I've seen all of those perspectives before. Our student has been away at college for a few months. We've tried to give them space, letting them take the lead on when to call or text. They've only called home once. We've sent short weekend messages just to say hello, share a quick family update, or remind them that we love them. Occasionally, we've mailed small care packages. And I have been attending counseling ourselves to navigate this new season of parenting young adults. Our student has chosen not to participate. The message cutting off all contact with us came as a complete shock. We recognize that our child is an adult, and as excruciating as this is, we know that we can't force a relationship. That said, we're unsure how to handle the practical side of things like health and car insurance policies that still include them, a car that they are using that is in our name that we continue to make payments on, a phone plan, tuition, and a monthly allowance. Also, do we stay connected on social media or in family tracking apps? Do we try to stay engaged or do as they wish and completely step back? We want to protect our own mental health, but we also want to leave the door open. The majority of the comments on this post, there are some good ones, but the majority of the 2,000 comments are like this. I'm going to read you some direct quotes. You want my wallet open, but my mouth shut. If they want no contact, that includes no financial support. Take the car back. Cut them off. They'll come around when they need the money. They owe you an explanation if you're paying for anything. And I want to talk about why this mindset is not only unhelpful, but potentially dangerous relationship ending during a very precarious moment in this young adult's life. I don't know this family or their specific situation, but I want to point out a few key points in their post, what they might mean and what to do about them. And I'm going to assume honesty and positive intent from this parent. So the first thing I want to note here is that they're quoted saying, the adult has only been away at college for a few months. This is an extremely delicate and difficult time in this young adult's life and for their parents. They're learning to be independent in a new environment, and they might be experiencing a lot of complicated feelings too. The message about no contact was a complete shock to these parents. If this is completely out of character for your child, it deserves more investigation for sure. It should not be taken at first glance or at first impression. If you feel like your adult child between the ages of 18 and 22 has made a massive change in a period of only a few short months, there's something deeper maybe going on here. I think that this situation should be approached carefully and with a lot of curiosity first before handling any of those logistics. The parent expresses here that they have been in counseling with their spouse. I think this is great. It's likely only been a couple of sessions because it's been a couple of months, but that's great. This stage can be very challenging for parents. I think it's a good idea to do this and figure out maybe what's coming up for you, what's being triggered for you. Understand what challenges you might be facing with your child moving out and becoming more independent. The confusion here around boundaries, tracking apps, money, etc., leads me to believe that this conversation needs to go a lot deeper. So if things like finances, tracking apps, the kids staying in college, other forms of connection and contact were not discussed when this person went quote unquote no contact, there needs to be a lot more curiosity about what is going on here. Cutoff should not be used as a form of communication. I don't think that we should be saying, I'm not going to speak to you because of X. And I know from my own experience as a therapist working with this, that sometimes when young adults feel embarrassed, trapped, judged, they're going through something, they feel like they can't tell their parents. Maybe they're even scared to leave school. They've made some bad choices. They're not in the right environment. They sometimes will utilize this. But I think that it's a parent's job here to be like, let's look a little bit deeper here at what's going on. If this person is saying, I'm going no contact with you, has not fleshed out any of this other stuff that is going to have a huge impact on their life, especially if they are this dependent on their parent when they are making that decision. The parent is also not saying here out loud the assumption that many of these commenters are making. They are not saying that their child is cutting them off, still demanding to be financially supported. So this is something that I need more information on, because this is why so much of this advice could do more harm than good. It can frame the relationship as being very transactional rather than being focused on like, and I want to help you. It sounds more like you're saying, you don't want to talk to me, then I'm going to cut you off, hoping that when you do that, they will say, wait, I do want to have a relationship with you. And now you've basically solidified that like this whole dynamic is just an exchange of money for contact. And that's not helpful either, especially if this young adult is struggling. So I think focusing on these logistical tasks can be a way of coping for the parents. They're trying to get some clarity and understand. I completely get that. However, I think more conversations, again, need to be had with this adult child when they're ready. This is not the first thing I would ask them about. I would want to get more clarity on what's going on, what they're experiencing, what went wrong in our dynamic, especially if you felt like the relationship was good before this came out of nowhere. You need to demonstrate some curiosity or desire to understand before getting focused on logistics and money. The parent here expresses wanting to leave the door open, which to me shows a sign of good faith that they would like to have a relationship in the future. If this is the case, I again would want to approach this from a non-transactional lens. I would want to try to give this young adult some space, get curious about what's going on with them, why they are struggling. And I really believe that this can help you avoid long-term estrangement. Or if you go straight in with threats and I'm cutting you off and tough luck, figure it out on your own, it's much more likely that you are going to lose your adult child in this. Because I would bet this has nothing to do with money. It's also important to remember that mental health issues, often severe mental illness symptoms, can show up during this time. I know we think of these kids as adults, but they are going through a big developmental change at this age. And sometimes they can start showing symptoms for things like bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, etc. They may have been starting to experiment with substances that has led to some consequences in their life. If you are seeing rapid changes in personality and behavior in your adult child, it's important to focus on that first rather than logistical and financial concerns.